Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here is the brutal truth. Most people have heard this quote, nodded their heads, and gone right back to drowning in negative thoughts. Why? Because knowing something and actually living it are two entirely different realities. Positive thinking is not about plastering a smile on your face. It is about rewiring how your mind interprets the world. And if you have ever tried to just think positively and failed, you are not broken. You are simply missing the right framework. In this video, you will discover 5 powerful Stoic principles that will genuinely transform the way you think. Not with empty affirmations, but with ancient wisdom backed by modern psychology. Before we begin, drop one word in the comments right now. Write Stoic if you are ready to rewire your mind. And please stay until the very end, because the final principle is something most people never hear. And it might be the most powerful shift of your entire life. Principle 1. The Dichotomy of Control. The single greatest source of negative thinking is trying to control what was never yours to control. Think about the last time you felt truly anxious. Were you worried about something you could actually change, or something completely outside your hands? Most people spend 90% of their mental energy obsessing over other people's opinions, over outcomes, over circumstances they never had any real say in. And here is the problem. The more you fight what you cannot control, the more your mind begins to see the entire world as a threat. Have you ever noticed this exact pattern in yourself? The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, a former slave who endured suffering most of us cannot imagine, built his entire philosophy around this one single idea. He taught that only 2 things are ever truly within your power: your thoughts and your chosen responses. Everything else is simply not yours to carry. When you genuinely internalize this, something profound happens inside you. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the author of your inner world. This is not passive acceptance. This is disciplined freedom. The world will always be chaotic. Your mind does not have to be. Principle 2. Your thoughts are not facts. Here is something most people never truly realize. The thought in your head is not reality. It is an interpretation. And that interpretation is shaped by your past experiences, your unresolved fears, and the stories you have been unconsciously telling yourself for years. Imagine you send a message to a close friend and they do not reply for 2 days. What does your mind immediately say? They are ignoring me. I said something wrong. They do not like me anymore. But here is what is actually true. You simply do not know. And this is exactly where most people fall apart. The Stoics called this the practice of distinguishing impression from reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, the book we now call Meditations, reminding himself daily not to be ruled by first impressions. Modern psychology calls this cognitive distortion. Your mind invents a story, then treats that story as absolute fact. The shift begins when you start asking one simple but powerful question. Is this thought a fact, or is it just a fear wearing the mask of a fact? That single question alone can stop an entire mental spiral before it ever begins. Train this consistently, and everything changes. Principle 3. Negative visualization. The Stoic secret to gratitude. This one sounds completely counterintuitive. And that is exactly why most people dismiss it without a second thought, and miss everything in doing so. The Stoics practice something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. In simple terms, they deliberately imagined losing what they valued most: their health, their loved ones, their work, their home. Not to make themselves miserable, but to feel the full, undeniable weight of what they already had. Think about the person you love most in this world. Now, just for a moment, imagine they are gone. Did you feel that? That small, quiet shift in perspective is what most people only feel after loss. when it is already too late to fully appreciate what they had. The Stoics chose to feel it now, while they still had everything. Modern psychology has confirmed this through research on hedonic adaptation, the brain's relentless tendency to normalize blessings until they completely disappear. Negative visualization interrupts that numbness before it takes root. It does not make you pessimistic. It makes you present. It makes you genuinely grateful in a way no gratitude journal ever could. Because you are not listing what you have. You are truly feeling what it would mean to lose it. Principle 4. Choose your response, not your reaction. Between every event and your response to it, there is a space. And in that space lives your freedom. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, said this in perhaps the most powerful way it has ever been said. He witnessed people endure unimaginable horrors, and he observed that even under the worst possible conditions, some people still chose their inner response. They chose dignity. They chose meaning. They deliberately chose who they would be, even when everything else was stripped completely away. Now think about the last time someone said something that deeply upset you. What happened in that exact moment? Most people react. They do not respond. Reacting is automatic, emotional, driven by old patterns and unhealed wounds you may not even be aware of. Responding is conscious. It is deliberate. It is who you choose to be when the world pushes against you. The Stoics trained this muscle every single day through journaling and what they called the evening review, asking themselves at the end of each day, where did I react instead of respond? What could I have done differently? This is not about suppressing your emotions. It is about refusing to let your emotions write the story of your life without your permission. Principle 5. Reframe every obstacle as information, Marcus Aurelius wrote. The obstacle is the way. Most people read that and assume it is simply motivational poetry. It is not. It is a precise, practical instruction. Every single time something goes wrong, every failure, every rejection, every painful and humiliating moment, your mind has a choice in how it categorizes that experience. It can file it under proof that life is unfair and I am unlucky, or it can file it under data I needed in order to grow. Same event, completely different mental architecture. Same outcome, entirely different internal experience. But here is what most people miss completely. Reframing is not lying to yourself. It is not toxic positivity. It is not saying everything happens for a reason while quietly dismissing your pain. It is something far more honest and far more powerful than that. It is asking, what is this situation trying to teach me? What strength is this forcing me to build? What would a wiser version of me see here that I currently cannot? The Stoics believed that difficulty was not something that happened to them. It happened for them, specifically to reveal what they were truly made of. When you adopt that lens completely, nothing can permanently break you. If you are still watching right now, I want to genuinely acknowledge that. Most people click away within the first 2 minutes. But you are still here, and that tells me something real about who you are. You take your growth seriously. Before we move into the most powerful principle in this entire video, I want to ask you something. Which of the 5 principles we just covered hit you the hardest? Drop the number in the comments below. I read every single one personally. Most people will never truly understand this concept. And because of that, nothing in their inner life will ever fully, permanently change. The Stoics called it Amor Fati, the love of fate. Not the acceptance of fate. Not the quiet tolerance of fate. The active, deliberate love of it. Every single thing that has ever happened to you, every wound you carry, every failure that humiliated you, every season of darkness you survived, was not an accident. It was the exact experience your soul required to become who you are capable of being. Nietzsche said it most powerfully. My formula for greatness is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. If you miss this, nothing truly changes. Not permanently. Because positive thinking without this foundation is just a performance. It is a mask you wear until life gets hard, and then it falls off completely. But when you love your fate, when you look at your past and say not, "Why did this happen to me?" but "How is this still shaping me into something greater?" that is when real transformation finally begins. Not the kind you force with affirmations. The kind you earn through understanding. That is the Stoic way. Let us bring everything together. Principle 1. Control only what is truly yours and release everything else without guilt. Principle 2. Your thoughts are interpretations, not facts. Learn to question them before they become beliefs. Principle 3. Practice negative visualization to deeply feel the real value of what you already have. Principle 4. Train the space between event and response. Consciously choose, never blindly react. Principle 5. Reframe every obstacle as information designed specifically to grow you. And the final principle, love your fate entirely. Not in spite of its difficulty, because of it. These are not just ideas. They are daily practices. And consistent practice changes lives. Now choose just one of these principles and commit to practicing it this week. Tell me which one in the comments below. I want to know. If this video added real value to your life, subscribe now, because the next video continues this exact journey.